Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
All right, welcome to Inside Hilltopper Athletics Baseball Edition. I'm Jacob Davey, joined by head baseball coach Eric Burkle. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Hey, no problem.
So this will be a fall ball recap. Coach just finished up fall ball about last month. Just give us your overall thoughts on that process.
It was a short, quick fall. I mean, we came back in. I don't know that we were ready to get started, but we did it. We got through it. It was quick. You know, when you're only allowed 24 practices in an off season, you use them up pretty quick. So, you know, the end of October we wrapped it up and started in the weight room and conditioning pretty hard. You know, with mandatory weight room stuff. So they're still going at it hard. They've got some stuff they have to get done over the Christmas break to get back here January 9. So it was quick, painless. So now we'll get ready to see what we can do in the spring.
Yeah, kind of a rough spring last year. And then what was kind of the main focus this fall to kind of restart this group?
Last spring was that year where you thought, I mean, I had higher expectations, and then everything that we did was wrong. I mean, we couldn't score runs, so it was a total disappointment on my end. So this year, we've attempted to put the focus on the offense, but it was more on some leadership stuff, some attitude changes, little things. I mean, we know the talent's there. We didn't lose much to graduation. You know, we lost one pitcher in our starting rotation, so 3 guys were coming back. So the pieces are there. Now it's just a matter of figuring it out, how we can get them to get W's.
And you mentioned some strong returners, also some newcomers. You want to talk about that class and your first impressions on them in the fall?
Yeah, the guys that came in the fall, you know, from the freshmen to a couple transfers, they're impact guys right now. So it's, you know, 3 weeks before school starts, we get a transfer from Potomac State and from Marshall and Tubes Thomas, and that kind of changed the outlook immediately. He's a two-way guy that'll play the middle infield for us. He'll close games on the mound. He's probably going to hit middle to bottom of the order for us. So, and offensively, the lineup got stronger when he jumped into it. You know, it's just even some of the freshmen that are impact kids. I mean, Brady Harmon, you know, he's a two-way guy, middle infielder, pitcher, expected to throw a lot of innings this year. So it's just about everybody we brought in is an impact guy from the beginning. So now it's a matter of how do we find innings for all of them, and how do we find the right connection to find out which 9 can play, because I can still only play 9. So we just got to find the right 9.
Mm-hmm. You want to take us through like your fall a little bit and the process of college fall ball, like practices, your game, your play date, and all that?
Yeah, I mean we're allowed so many scrimmages. I think it's 3 with an alumni game, and we don't do the alumni game too often anymore. It's too hard to get everybody together. But we had an outside scrimmage with Franciscan that went well. We're allowed 24 practices in that 45-day window. And we take advantage of those. We get outside as much as we can, break it up into individuals. But we go hard from the middle of September till the end of October. And then like I said, we shut it down. We go in the weight room, mandatory weight room, conditioning, individuals. For the pitching staff, the individuals is huge. I mean, I can be with them an hour a couple times a week, and you're talking about trying to get, you know, 10 hours of work in a 1-hour session. So at this level, it's a lot of volunteer work. You know, they're on their own a lot, and thankfully we have an indoor facility where we can get that done. You know, we schedule open gym times. Guys can get down there and get it done. And now that it's fully netted, we can have half of it focused on the offense, the other half with the pitchers. So it's been pretty good. In the fall for us, in this weather, when you get to the end of October, you know it's time to get inside. So.
So you played Franciscan, you said, in the outside competition. What were some highlights from that?
The highlights for that, this year we changed it up a little bit. Instead of, you know, trying to throw everybody an inning and see everybody that day, we went with what we thought we were going to see in the spring. So we went with the same starting lineup both games, and that's potentially what we thought we would see in the spring.
Yeah.
So we rolled that out twice. We extended some pitching, 2-3 innings for starters. If a guy we thought was a 3 outs or less guy, that's how we used him. And we kind of made that clear to him and tried to set up some roles and expectations before we get to the nitty-gritty that they know what they're expecting. So it worked out well for us. And I thank Coach Carver for, last couple of years. For some reason, he likes coming to the Hilltop when a lot of other schools don't like playing at our place. The atmosphere is pretty tough. So, but Coach Carver loves it, and he comes up, and we get to spend the day together and, play 18 innings of baseball. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, overall offensive highlights from the fall, anything stand out to you?
I don't know that there's too many highlights on the offensive side for us right now. Last year we couldn't do anything right. So this year we're trying to find that offensive identity. Yeah. We don't know if we're that team that can go out and hit 3 home runs in a weekend, or if we're that team that we have to go back to stealing bases, hit and run, stuff like that. And we worked hard in the fall on trying to get some guys to steal bases, but we're struggling with that.
Yeah.
Teaching instinct is hard. So we're trying to you're trying to force feed a guy to learn how to steal a base, and that's tough at this level. So we're trying to figure out what that offensive identity is.
Yeah. You think the fall helped you kind of figure that out?
It did. We kind of set the tone for some guys, hey, this is what we need to do. We need to be a little more aggressive. Let's not, last year we had a couple guys in the top 5 in strikeouts in the MEC. So, we go to them specifically and let's get more aggressive. Every pitching coach in the country wants action in 4 pitches.
Right.
So let's take advantage of that. Let's not get the full count and then swing at the slider in the dirt. Let's jump on some fastballs early in counts. So hopefully it hits home. I mean, we'll see. We get really aggressive here in January when we're within, 20 hours a week. So we can start to focus in on that and the 2-strike approach and some hit and run stuff and see if we can build that offensive identity by the time we get to February.
Then defensively, you think you found that identity yet?
Defensively is probably between pitching and defense, I think we've improved the most. Yeah. Defensively, I mean, we had a bunch of errors last year. I think, we've got a senior in center field. We've got a second-year, all-conference kid in right field. And then we've got essentially a second-year rookie in left field. But he's that wiry kid that he's defensively, he's okay. Mm-hmm. A junior college kid in the middle at short, a senior at third, a junior college kid and a senior at first, and then a second-year kid at second he was all conference. So the pieces are there. The pitching's solid. Like I said, we returned 3 starters, bringing in a couple kids at the break that fill starting roles. That gives us a chance to compete midweek. So defensively, I think we're okay. I think we've got some work to do behind the plate. Mm-hmm. But we know that, and we focus on it. Coach Isaac's been pretty hard on the catchers and individuals. So and my job as the pitching coach is we're going to try to keep some teams at first base.
Right.
So we've got work to do, but I think defensively that's our strong suit. Mm-hmm. I know we're going to throw strikes. It's a veteran group. There's only 2 freshmen on that pitching staff. Everybody else is second, third, or fourth-year guys. There's even a couple fifth-year guys. So I think we're okay there.
Yeah.
Now let's figure out a way to score runs.
Mm-hmm. You got to score to win, right?
Yes.
And then you mentioned coming back in January, hitting it hard. Can you give us a little bit of a preview of your your winter workouts and how you approach that?
January for us is all indoors.
Okay.
Obviously, and with the new turf facility, but now we can go live in there. The entire place has been netted, thanks to Coach Herb, Coach Allum. But now our pitchers can throw live to hitters. So now we'll take that 4 weeks in January and first week of February, get the pitchers ready, let them see some live action. And then on February 9, we're leaving for Jackson, Tennessee to play Union.
Yeah, that'll probably be your first time outside, right?
It was last year, and the best part is we get down to Jackson last year, and their trainer, it was 42 degrees, and the trainer wasn't going to let us play. It was too cold. So we just kind of chuckled at that one. But
Yeah.
we ended up getting all 4 in. It wasn't the greatest weekend for us. We dropped all 4, but when we got to game 4, things had started to click. Justin Pennybacker, senior for us this year, came in hot last year.
Yeah.
And their coach complimented him and said, if that's your number 4, you guys should be okay.
And that's got to be tough as a coach, kind of preparing a team and to go outside, first time outside, and it's a game. A real game, it counts.
Yeah, it's tough because you really don't know. And we had so many moving pieces last year that you weren't sure what was going to happen. And then, we're going to start a freshman on opening day last year, and he gets food poisoning. So now we don't see him till the next
Another
day.
curveball, yeah.
Yes. So it was just, we were up against it from the start last year. So now it's my job to make sure that that's fixed before we get there. And a lot of it is just on the mental side and the leadership side. So we'll have that straight by the time we get there.
Some nice facilities here. Maybe get a chance to go out on the turf somewhere. Or
yeah, between the soccer field and the football field, anytime that the football team or the soccer teams request the indoor facility, we try to make room for them so that we can get the favor returned.
Right.
And the soccer coaches are great. They'll say, hey, do you need the lights on tonight? Or Coach Wiley will say, hey, do you need the lights on?
Mm-hmm.
So as long as it's not ice and snow, we can get outside, we can hit fly balls, we can do what we need to on the turf. So the facilities here are great.
Yeah, I know. As a former baseball player myself in college, at the Division III level, we would be out in the parking lot getting fly balls and stuff. So a little bit better facilities here.
Absolutely.
So,
Where the indoor facility is now, when I was the assistant, that was the Beta parking lot was the winter practice facility along with the main arena. So now that we have the indoor facility, it's been great.
Yeah. Coach, you want a couple new additions to your coaching staff, right? A couple graduate assistants and changes.
Yeah, well, we have a new graduate assistant in Isaac Ryan. He's been with us since his days at Marietta. So he's doing an excellent job. He's been one of the better GAs. He's taken to it right away. He's got his hands in everything. He's in the weight room every day. He's big on conditioning. He takes care of the catchers. We've added an essential, a full-time, part-time guy.
Okay.
So Coach Colton Koss, now he spends his mornings with the maintenance department, and then he spends his afternoons with us. And that's been a blessing from HR and from Joe Mills and maintenance to allow that to happen.
Yeah.
So
and be on campus full time.
So now there's 3 of us that are on campus all the time. They share an office right next to me. And then we still have Coach Geisel, who's a local fireman. He's here whenever he can. Coach Wally, whenever he can. And then we have our everyday assistant that's also here on campus every day in Brecken Claw, former player. He's a volunteer assistant with us, but he runs the morning hitting groups in the fall, and he was there every day. Every morning I'm getting a call, what do you want today, Skip? So he's been a blessing for us. And then we have a student volunteer in J.D. Ellis. Coach Hetherington from Steubenville said, hey, you need to try this kid out. So and he's been here. He can hit a fungo, he throws BP, and he tells bad jokes, but it's okay.
All right, well, season starts when, right, Coach?
We leave on February 9, and we play February 10, 11 in Jackson.
Yeah, so the full season schedule is out on Hilltopper Sports. We'll have a full release coming this winter. Thanks for joining us on this fall ball recap.
No problem. Look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll be back with Coach Burkle for a full season preview later in January, February-ish. But until then, this is Inside Hilltopper Athletics Baseball Edition. Thank you for tuning in.
Disasters happen. Pick the team that takes care of them all. Powered by offices in Wheeling, Morgantown, and Pittsburgh, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration is ready to handle any size emergency at a moment's notice. We have the right people, knowledge, and equipment to respond 24 hours a day.
I'm Kyle Cooper. When disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Hilltoppers call, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.